Hi, I'm Greta Oliver. Welcome to the Educate You podcast, your roadmap to learning tips, techniques, and strategies to enable your student to successfully navigate the road to and through higher education. Hello, and welcome to Educate You. It's an educational podcast for family members and guardians and parents and students who are interested in the college-going process. We will be focusing on a lot of things, and it is a lot to focus on. We don't want you to be afraid of it, though. We want you to jump right in and be able to move forward on your path to higher education. As far as students are concerned, maybe you don't know. You might be the first college student in your family. You might be the one that everybody's looking at to see whether you'll make it or not. Don't be afraid. Just plan. Make a plan and work your plan to be able to be successful in higher education. Some of the things that we will be talking about on Educate You are just things that are typical to the college-going process. We'll be talking about finding a college that fits. We'll talk about college visits and what you should look for when you're on a college campus. We'll talk about the importance of getting on campus so that you can actually see what is going on and you can get a feel for how the college operates and about how the people interact with one another. You can see if the college feels good to you and find out about the college climate. And if you feel like it's embracing you, if you feel like you could belong there, or if you feel like you could even progress or persist there. And so we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about financial aid, the different types, how to go about getting financial aid. We'll be talking about working. We'll be talking about loans. We'll be talking about choosing your classes wisely. We'll be talking about time management, budgeting, everything that you can think about that will interact with you, the subjects that will hit you in the face as far as what should I know to be able to be successful in my journey to higher education. We're hoping that you'll take the information that we give out every week on these podcasts, information that will be given to you by experts, people who have been through this, people who have walked in your shoes, so that you will be able to utilize this information to make your journey or the journey for your student easier, more effective, less stressful, less overwhelming. Because if you want to just think about it, this is something brand new. This is new to you. And a lot of times you don't know what you don't know until you figure out that you don't know. So you don't know what you don't know. So you don't know what questions to ask sometimes. You don't know what situations may occur until you're actually faced with different things that you were never faced with before. And so what we're trying to do is just break this down into manageable chunks and steps as you progress, as your student gets on campus, as they sign up for classes, as they go to classes, as they continue and persist from year to year. So we're coming up with a formula that you can use to make it easier so that it will be easier for everyone. And you'll be able to utilize this time with your student who is interested in higher education. They're college bound. They're excited about it. If they are excited about it, you should have no problem working alongside them to be able to make this dream a reality. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for coming and finding out what we have to say. Thank you for using the tips and the strategies that we will give. And we just like to give you the invitation that if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you have any issues, if you want to just say, what your opinion is about a particular topic, you can always reach out and you can contact me. My contact information will be at the end of every podcast. You can also go to my website, which will be listed at the end of every podcast, so that you can make your thoughts known. You can say what you have to say. You can ask any questions you may have and give any feedback. We're interested in what you have to say. Now that you know what the podcast is all about, now let me tell you my story. I was not ready for college. It was September 6, 1975, with my overstuffed bags and boxes stacked in my room, and the glare of the sun forcing itself through the window. I watched my parents slowly exit the parking lot of the Chrysler Compton Quad on the campus of Bowling Green State University. I felt like I was in the middle of nowhere. A deep sense of abandonment overshadowed my soul. I was alone, woefully ill-prepared for college life, and afraid of what the future would hold for me. My thoughts shifted to my parents. I was sure they felt uncertainty and perhaps even fear about how all this would unfold. I was an African American, first-generation college student at a predominantly white institution. My parents were not college graduates. In fact, no one in my entire family was. My family had sacrificed for me to be here, and my mother was working overtime to help pay for my education. Since they never had this experience, they were as in the dark about the college process and what to expect as I was. As the first person in my family to go away to college, many eyes and hopes were on me. Would I make the transition successfully, or would I disappoint them and be sent home in disgrace? I could not erase from my mind the hope for my future in my parents' eyes as they pushed me toward the goal of higher education. Back then, there was no guidebook explaining the college process to parents or new students. There was no internet, limited resources, and very few, if any, role models or mentors around to help students and parents navigate this journey from start to finish. We were left to figure it out on our own, the hard way. College Roadmap: Essential Tips for First-Time College Students and Their Families is the roadmap that will help students and their families navigate the path from prospective college student to college graduate with less stress, more ease, and without experiencing the many pitfalls along the road. I've come a long way since those days at Bowling Green. As I look back, I realize that some of my most fulfilling experiences have been helping students reach their goals of higher education. My hope is that I can provide a helping hand on their journey, that I make an impact, a difference for both them and their parents. Years later, as a college administrator, I work closely with hundreds of students in varying roles, such as program director, coordinator, adjunct instructor, scholarship advisor, scholarship director, among other things. I definitely wanted the students with whom I worked to know that I was there for them should they need assistance. It is my hope that my experience and tips shared here on Educate You can make the preparation to college more smooth and less stressful. As a college administrator, I exhibited tough love, advising and supporting my students, and I was constantly reaching out to them. My office door was always open, and I became the advocate I wished I'd had during my undergrad experience. Over the years, I have mentored many students, provided many letters of recommendation, and worked closely with graduate students and work study students, providing support whenever and wherever I could. It is my joy to maintain relationships with these students and witness their successes since their graduation. I believe in education being a game changer for individuals and families. Education changed my life, and it offered me a different vantage point from which to help first-year students. In my experience, I have found that many students come to college and are ill-prepared to meet the challenge of higher education. Preparation is the key for success in this journey and starts before a student steps foot on campus. It is my hope that you can use and appreciate all that is presented here for your journey to college, and that you will persist and you will reach your goal of graduation. I want to help students reach their goal of higher education. This is my reason why. Thank you for joining us today on Educate You. If you wish, you can send me your questions or comments about the college-going process or the podcast contents by sending an email to drgreta@gretaoliverconsulting.com. Also, beginning each week after the podcast airs, check for a companion blog on my website's blog page at gretaoliverconsulting.com. My book, College Roadmap: Essential Tips for First-Time College Students and Their Families, is available for sale on Amazon.com. Join us next week for another tip or strategy to make the road to higher education easier for your student.